Okay, in this video, we are going to review every one of the takeoff items so I can give a good explanation as to everything that was done. So let's go to our first page. Okay, so I uh, eliminated everything. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove doors and frames. In some cases, we had double doors, so I didn't include those. And so, pretty simple. You just count those. And that was tag number 4. Pretty simple. And the next one, we had double doors. So we had 2. One there and one there. Now, the next. Remove, this is an interesting one. Remove exterior building sign. Okay, so they just point at them, and that's why when you have a demo project, you have to really make sure you ask a lot of questions because you may not be given everything to get an accurate size. I mean, they just point to something, right? And they don't give you what you need. And so what is vital to do, if you're able to go by and determine before you give them a number, or they can give you information about the sizes, then that's the one in the front. Now, the one in the back gives me the impression that it's this big. So I'm not really sure because they don't give you, at least I don't have, exterior elevations, right? The elevation view of the exterior of the building may show me or give me some information from that in order to determine the size of the sign. But that's the flaw when you submit a demo bid, is that you really don't know a lot of stuff. Okay, and that's what I'm going to point out in each instance. And so in this case, I mean, the doors, they usually we'll figure they're 3x7. Okay, and that's not much. That's easy. But something as ambiguous as remove the sign, we have no idea. I don't even know. We're removing the double door too, or the door. We just left that as a door, 2 separate doors. But yeah, you got to get information about both of those signs. All right, remove storefront. That's another thing that, where do we have that? Right here. And everything. You know what? And I think I'm going to uncolor the ones that I do so we don't get confused because everything's going to start to light up. So remove storefront. That's the green line. So didn't really know if, another thing you don't know, the storefront is the glass window in front of any store, right? So this is clear that this represents glass. That's a representation of glass if we're looking from a plan view down. That's easy to tell that that's glass. And so I'm assuming that we have that same glass because if you have a door, they're not going to have the door and the glass represented on the plan. So you have to use your imagination that door does have, there's wall of some kind above the front door. So is it storefront glass? I assumed it was. And so we just measured that and measured it by 10 or 12 feet. And the height of the wall. You never know the heights. So you got to make sure. I mean, if I wanted to do it more accurately, I would assume there's probably 6 feet, but not even 6 feet of glass. We don't know. I'm thinking about any storefront of a grocery store I've ever been to. Yeah, they usually have glass to the roof, right, above the door. So that could be this case. So if I had to be more accurate, I would have made, or we can, make this part times 12 because we need a square foot number. So that length alone, because we know that's the full window, all from top to the ground, at least we're assuming that's what that is, because the storefront goes from top to bottom. So we could have gone that little part times 12 plus this length times 6. and that would have given maybe, but we don't know. So I go with the thing that helps you the most. Okay. So now I'm going to take all of those other ones off. Leave the last one I did so I know where I'm at. Okay. So now the next thing is take take paint off of the Unilever's laboratory UL, that I guess they painted over the label on these doors, and they want you to take the paint off of the label. So I just gave you a material for that, for whatever solvent and a rag you might need, a sponge, I don't know, but give you some material cost as well as the man hour. And there were 10 of those doors that we have to remove the paint off of the UL label on the door. So next, next is remove masonry wall, and that's at the exterior of the wall. So that is right here. And so, yeah, I measured it. I'm like, that's 24 plus 6, 30 inches concrete wall. If it is, well, I gave it the right man hour, but you just want to check to make sure that's right, because these plans may not necessarily be like the exterior wall thickness to scale. So, but it's just a little portion. Okay. So we've taken that out. It's my phone, unfortunately. Okay. Next, remove the wall. Okay. So this is where a lot of. So these are all walls that have to be removed. Okay. And when you have a door, unless it's 16 feet, like, no, we're removing the door too, and because there's a portion of the wall above the door. So you're going to always go through the door if you're removing a wall too, right? You always got to think it's the door there, but it's a wall portion above the door. So that's what we're removing as well as the door. So you have quite a few, walls to remove. Okay, and that's simple. And so we assumed a 12-foot height for those walls. So they give a different types of walls. So I broke down the way that they labeled the different types of walls. So that's the regular wall, 335 linear feet. And next is remove the sink. And they had a bunch of remove the plumbing fixture and repair. But I broke it down. The sinks from the water closets they had water fountains where there were 4 locations where you were going to repair the back of where you took the plumbing equipment out. And so I gave it 9 square feet of repair surface per uh, outlet. I mean, it's been a long day, per plumbing fixture, and also, because you got to remove that and cap it when you remove the plumbing fixture. So that's included. Next, we already did the patch. Okay, toilet accessories. They always do this. They want you to remove the toilet accessories in the bathrooms, and that's Keynote 10. Well, okay, well, there are none shown here, and that's the thing with demo. It's never shown. So what I just gave it a time, so an hour, just to remove probably maybe a basket, waste basket in the wall, or the toilet roll device. Okay, so I gave it an hour. And then when you do take a look, you can determine how many individual things you are taking out. Okay, so whatever that is, I'm sure grab bars, who knows, but they're not specific. So I just gave you an amount of time for that. All right, next. Remove temporary wall. Okay, let's pan out. We use the hand. It's a little easier. Remove temporary wall. I can't even find it. Oh, there they go. All right. So I didn't know what temporary wall really meant. So I was assuming it was a low wall, like 4 feet high. So I believe that's the height that I gave for that on the sheet, 4 feet high times the length of that we measured. Okay. Remove portion of wall, which is kind of different than removing the wall altogether. So it's a little more in the man hour number because you're moving. This portion is staying, but you just got to remove, pieces of it. So that's basically cutting into a wall, not removing it. So it's a different man hour total. Okay. And I think that's, and then they had it here too. So I just used the same one because you're just removing a portion of the wall. And another, well, when we get there, I'll go to that. Okay, remove fountain and patch it. So that's one. Because you had a couple of fountains you're removing, but only one apparently is getting the wall patched behind it. All right, remove casework. We go by did I go by the linear feet? No, square feet. We did turn that into a square foot amount as if it's just framing. And same with the countertop. Okay. Uh, remove gyp for plumbing. Where was that at? Right here. Not quite sure what they meant by that because it's not an area. So is it? I mean, it doesn't appear that. Well, this isn't the ceiling plan. So it's how I think I gave it a 3 foot depth. So that length times 3 feet. Maybe you have to remove the gyp for the plumbing chase or something. But they need to be more, you need to get more specifics on that. Okay, so, oh, here's another one we need to, oh no, that one's easy. Remove wall to expose the window. And that is over here. No, wait, where is it? Didn't I light it up? I did. Where's that? Oh, right here. Okay, so remove the wall. Guess that's a window. So that's easy. And I always do the 12 feet height times that length. Okay, next is remove the sink. So we had some removals of the fixtures that didn't require, at least it didn't say, uh, repairing the wall too. So I just separated those and more countertop, but we added all those together. Now, the floor base. Remove the floor base. Okay. Everywhere there was an 11. Okay, so you'll see in certain areas there, even though it was a wall, right? We have to remove the floor base, which is on the wall. But I didn't include that if we remove the wall, right? Because the wall base is coming with the wall. So, those didn't get included. Just walls that were left standing where they had that 11 because we have to remove the flooring too. And again, we don't know the kind of flooring, so we really don't know what we're removing. And so you got to ask those questions. And as I mentioned before, it's always good to, and I'll provide one for you, a boilerplate letter to email back to the GC, especially for demo, helping you to identify a few things. The heights of the walls that are going to be demoed, the thickness of the concrete that may be cut, because when you demo the concrete, you have to cut it and then take it out. Um, um, Stuff like the storefronts, what's the height of the storefront. And then there's another one in here that, okay, good, that is next. Remove the gypsum board from the damaged, we remove damaged gypsum or drywall from windows. Okay, these are windows. Have no idea, right? How many square feet I'm removing, right? And so I don't even know. It's on there. I think I gave 5 square feet per window, something like that, or 10 square feet per window. Okay, yeah, more like 10 square feet per window was the allowance. So that you need to know if they could take a picture of it or just take a picture of one of the worst window. That way we can look at that and have an idea of how many square feet of, you know, drywall you're removing. So that was a hard one. Chair rail removal. Well, they just say here, right? That signifies that whole area. And so I just assume, right, there's a chair rail on all the walls, even here. So benefit of the doubt. And then around along this wall, and then here too. And then they even had it over here. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's all over there too. Okay, but that was the only place 17. And cut concrete. That's next. So yeah, we have to, in order to take it out. This is the only part that they're keeping. And so they just, I don't know why they did all of that, but we just cut it out, cut all of this out, and just keep that. And so we have to cut it. That's what the yellow is. And then we remove it. Okay, so that's that one. And remove hood. Have no information about a hood. Where is it? Right here. So that makes me think, oh, was that a hood, like a kitchen hood? Was a stove there? Or is there a stove there? And I just have to remove the hood. So that's one thing to think about. I think I gave you 5 hours for that because I don't know what that is. All right. And let's go to flooring. Now, I wasn't sure on the flooring. Okay. They have the 11, which is the wall base and the flooring. But to demo flooring on stairs, is more labor intensive than just to demo the flooring on the landings or whatever at the top. So I broke that out separately. And I'm not even sure that they want the stair flooring demo because, or all of it, because one set of stairs had the 11 on the stairs, right? And then these other ones just have it here. So that's a question you have to ask. Am I doing the stairs too or just the landings? Okay. And one last thing for this is the flooring. Okay, now flooring. So that's all the. Oh wait, that says open to below. That's not right. Okay, we have to fix that one. Yeah. Oh, look at me being fancy. Okay, so let me do this. So we can change it right now. Yep, we do want to delete that, and we're only going to do the 11 because that's open. And as far as I'm assuming that this is like railing, right? Not wall. So I didn't calculate any wall base along here, okay? Or whatever. I'm assuming because it's open from below. Usually that's railing, So verify that is no wall base around there and we got to change our number for our demo floor. hmm Removed. Now let's redo that. See, and where'd I stop? I'm I'm stopping right here with this one, okay? Because I'm not sure what's going on here. It's not being demoed, even though it's broken lines. Okay, I'm not sure. So I started the flooring here, where the broken line is, because I don't. There's no 11 over here. So I'm not going to assume that I'm doing that. So that's something we need to ask. Okay, so that's how I messed it up the first time by trying to be fancy, but I got it this time. And there's no 11 in here, so I didn't include that. And then that, and okay, that is included. That's included. That's included. All of that. Oh, oh oh, look at me. Okay, I'm gonna go back and do that. Usually I can do it in one shot, but not this time. And nothing over there. I think that's a wall. Okay. And then all of that. And then I'm not doing that because there's nothing in there that tells me to do that. And that's cut short. Let's just finish it out. There we go. All right. So we have to change that number to remove flooring now is 13070 or 13071. So we'll change that and let's go back and now do the ceiling plan. All right. So remove ACT, and I did do all those in one shot. I didn't mess up. Okay, so it's either that's 2x4 or 2x2, but it's the same thing. Okay, and that was easy. And they have some um, drywall above this ACT for some reason, so they want you to remove that. And the soffits, let me take that off. So a soffit is right where they have like a portion of the drywall that's going vertically down. They should, I mean, in a good set of plans, we'd have a section view so we could really determine how far down that's going, so we can determine a square foot amount. It's not just, I doubt that this is just like this drywall, just flat. This, it usually indicates it's a soffit of some kind. And this one too, that it comes down 3 feet, And so I measured the area of this, but then I also measured how many linear feet times 3, and then how many linear feet of that times 3 for the soffit part. And then just the regular flat drywall that they wanted removed. Yeah, I did that one for that one. And so for these, you got to charge them a little extra because you got to cut into the existing drywall. You don't know where the studs are, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's something to be thinking about. Just like cutting into um, a wall, framed wall, is more labor, and you have to be careful because yeah, you're cutting in. They want a space taken out, so I know that drywall is attached to something. So you may have to cut not only the drywall but the framing too. But that wasn't included because we don't want to include what we don't see, but we include it after we know it's there. Okay? And that's it. And that's how we came up with the number. So I had one mistake and we'll fix that and get that back to you. But if you have any questions, make sure you let me know.